a Difference. Thanks to Ross Ryan for Make a Difference. We're back discussing the apology by the Director General yesterday afternoon in connection with the broadcast which involved the N-word, but not just the N-word said in its entirety. 19,000 people complained. Lots of people very offended. Very few people ringing to say they're not. Let's see what Michael in Croydon has to say. Hello Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Vanessa.
Hiya.
Hi.
What did you want to say about this?
What am I going to say? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to give you a little history lesson on the N-word, what it means, where it comes from.
Please do.
For thousands of years, black people were known, to the Greeks, they were known as Ethiopians.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they called black people.
Yeah.
And black Ethiopians lived in ancient Greece. There was ancient Greek gods and goddesses who were Ethiopians. Then we come to ancient Rome, where lots of Ethiopians lived as well, but the Romans then started to call them Moors.
Mm.
So there's no such word as black. They weren't called black, they were called Moors or Ethiopians.
Yes, and some people will be familiar with that, of course, from the play of
Othello.
Othello was a Moor.
Yeah, that's right.
Might have been the first time that people heard that word and wondered why or where. Yes.
So they were respected, they were just other people. You were judged on your religion, you were judged on your tribe, you weren't judged on the colour of your skin. So sometimes, but not very often, it wasn't a thing. So we could get to the Moors becoming very powerful in the Middle Ages, having great influence over Europe, especially in Spain and Portugal, bringing in a lot of knowledge from the ancient world, which the Catholics didn't like them bringing in because the Catholics just believed in the Bible and anything from the ancient world was pagan. So we had a lot of wars between the Muslims and the Catholics. So then we get to the British and the transatlantic slave trade. So the British were taking these Moors over to America and turning them into slaves and treating them very cruelly. Now, they were going against Christian teachings, so they had to change these people they were treating badly. So they invented a word for them,
yes,
and that was the N-word.
We won't use it, obviously.
Right, so let me read what, and for those who don't know what it means, let me read what I just wrote here. The N-word means slave. You are my slave, and I can do anything to you. It means you are only 3/5 of a human, so not human. So I can rape you, starve you, whip the skin from your back for any indiscretion or no indiscretion. I can rape the children I made from you whilst raping you. I can own you forever and your children. I can kill you and the law will protect me. The law does not protect you. I can stop you and check who you are. I can call authorities on you and punish you because I said you did something to me. I can hang you because you looked at a white woman. I can cut off your manhood and stuff it in your mouth for looking at a white woman. I can cook you alive in front of crowds and sell postcards of your charcoal burnt body. I can do all this to you. That is what the N-word means.
Did you write this?
Yes, I just wrote it.
Wow.
I was waiting for you.
Gosh, I mean, my goodness. I mean, that's incredibly powerful and unbelievably harrowing and utterly, utterly devastating. And every word you write resonates, and I'm sure right through the generations. And you're absolutely 100% correct when you say it's dehumanizing. It's to say you're less than. And exactly the Nazi equivalent was Übermenschen, which is the overlords, and Untermenschen, like the underclass, the underbeat, who were not human, who were depicted in Die Stürmer as rats rather than people. So they had no feelings, they had, exactly as you say, no rights, no feelings, no emotions, no status, no standing, no humanity. It's exactly as you say. And that's why obviously the word is absolutely redolent with feeling.
Exactly.
So do you, I mean, that was such an incredible thing you wrote, really amazing. Do you then share the outrage at this? Do you feel the BBC was remiss in its duty and should never have broadcast that word?
See, education is what is needed.
Yeah.
The teaching of proper history needs to be taught, as I keep on saying on this show. And the people who throw words at other people don't know the feelings because they're throwing the words. They don't understand because they've never been through it. There's, when you look at women, black people, Jews, they have so many negative words thrown at them from one particular person, usually from the males. Women were treated just as badly throughout history as black people were treated during slavery. But because women are white and they've come through, they've got their stuff through, in some cases up to the level of white men, we seem to have forgotten a lot of what happened to them, and also because it's not taught. The women are not taught how badly they were treated, how badly the Greeks looked on women extremely badly, extremely extremely badly. The Greeks looked down upon they called the British pale-skinned people, and they called the British very silly people, and they said their women are the same as the people from the Britons because their women have a paler skin than the men. So there's so much. A woman in England could be. Women were burnt at the stake because they couldn't strip them naked. So in order to save a woman's blushes, they burned them. A woman could be burned at the stake for talking too much out against her husband, for standing up for herself. I think the last one burned at the stake was burnt for that reason, because basically she was mouthy.
Tell me something. One of the elements, one of the few elements, let's say, that one could take comfort from in all that you've said so far, Michael, is that this is all then and not now. Theoretically, this is supposedly at any rate history and historical, because we have it enshrined in law in this country. You're not allowed to incite racism or racial hatred. You're not allowed to to be prejudiced. You're not allowed to treat somebody as lesser than anybody else. Everybody's equal in the eyes of the law. We all have a vote and everything else. So the idea is that this is supposed to be then and not now. It's meant to be a distant memory, isn't it?
It's still there. We saw what happens in America. We see what happens. There's what they call Karens in America who ring the police. For instance, a black man might be sitting on a bench near their house. They'll ring the police and say, there's a black man on my bench. They're highlighting it now on YouTube because the people are filming these things.
Well, we saw that one in Central Park recently, didn't we?
There's an African-American harassing me. I'm there for my life. Yeah. And if that was another time, he'd end up in a tree.
Yeah.
With a rope around his neck.
Yeah, but at least as if that was another time to some extent.
But Vanessa, I go a lot on YouTube and I see a lot of videos. There's this old white Englishman on YouTube called History Debunked, and he puts out these videos debunking all these new kind of histories that come out. Yeah. And there's an awful lot of white people who follow him, and they say, oh yeah, these people, they think that they've done this and they've done that, they're so deluded. They hide. But I always go on there and I comment on what they've commented, and I quote ancient Greece, I quote ancient Rome, I quote the people who wrote these things about black people, and they never come back to me. Or there was one who called me a racist because I was correcting this man, and I said to him, who told you I was black? I do not use this colour system you people invented 3 years ago to depict who I am. He had no comeback. Whenever you say that to them, they have no comeback because they can't handle that. You need to be a label in order for them to get at you. And I am not a label. I am Michael Quain. I am me. I am Guyanese British. That's who I am.
Yes. And let me ask you something else. The BBC's allowing this in inverted commas. I mean, Lord knows who in the pecking order was the person who, said that this was a good idea or didn't realise it was a bad idea or whatever it is. Do you see that as some kind of racism, or do you see that as insensitivity? Do you see it as ignorance? Do you see it as irresponsible? I mean, because it was part of a news bulletin explaining this appalling assault on this guy that was a racist attack on him that practically pulverised him. So it couldn't have been an incitement to racism. That's not what the BBC was trying to do. You could say they were trying to do the absolute opposite, but doing it in a bungling and rubbishy kind of a way. But what do you think is responsible for it happening at all? What do you see going on there?
Confusion. There's confusion in white people because they say black people use it in their music. That's what black people call each other. Right. That's come over from America because in America they constantly called the slaves that, and the slaves called themselves that. So it's in their language. They've come, and there was a time during the 60s when black people were in the civil rights and they were starting to find who they were. That word wasn't used anymore. And it wasn't until NWA came on the scene in the mid-1980s with Straight Outta Compton that they released that album with the N full of the N-word. And the producers even said, you can't release this because no black person would buy this record. Because it just wasn't fashion, it wasn't used anymore. Black people were playing music of Love and Barry White and the Jackson 5. Oh, when you think of black music in the 70s, it's uplifting music, it's love music, it's let's make love Marvin Gaye music. It's not about negativity. And NWA brought in that negativity and it sold millions. And suddenly...
And what was the appeal of it? Describe the appeal.
It was shock. It's shock. Oh, have you heard that record? Did you hear what they call in the police? Did you hear how many times they call each other the N-word? It's shock. I need to go hear this. Let me buy this record. Yeah, this is us. This is us people. This is us talking. This is how we speak. This is our language. And it was the language of the streets in Compton. But let's keep it your language. Don't make it a world language. Don't make everybody think. Let me give you a perfect example. My wife was in a hospital, and the nurse, a nurse came to her, and she got very friendly. This nurse is from Uganda, and she said to her, she was treating this Italian woman, and every time she came in the room, the Italian woman said, N-word, get this, N-word, get this, N-word, do that, and she said to the lady, can you stop calling me that? I am not that. And the Italian lady said to her, well, that's what you call each other in your songs, so why can't I call you that? There you go.
Oh, for goodness sake. Listen, it's always good to hear from you, Michael. Always a lesson. I just had a text from my daughter saying, amazing, that what you wrote was just so fiery and so resonant. Thank you very much indeed. Always a pleasure. Michael in Croydon. This is from Ewan in Camberwell. Good morning, Ewan, and thanks for the kind words. He says...